When you speak to another human being, the most important element is not the word itself, but the space from which that word arises. Most people are unaware of this. They think that if they just choose the right words, craft the perfect sentence, they will have the desired effect. But the truth is, even the most poetic sentence, if spoken from a mind that is distracted, restless, or caught in wanting something from the other person, will be felt as empty. There is an energy beneath words, and it is that energy the other person responds to often without realizing it. When you are fully present, your words are no longer merely sounds strung together. They become carriers of the stillness within you. They have a weight, a richness, an aliveness. The other person does not just hear them, they feel them. Your presence infuses the space between you with something that cannot be faked or imitated. It is this quality that makes a simple compliment become unforgettable. It is not so much what you say, but the beingness that says it. Presence is the opposite of trying. When you are trying to impress, trying to make someone like you, trying to appear a certain way, your attention is split. Part of you is with the other person, but most of you is in your head rehearsing, judging, anticipating. The words you speak in that state carry a subtle tension. And because all human beings are deeply sensitive to the energy behind words, they will feel it. They may not be able to explain why your words don't quite land, but they will feel it. When you are present, you are not trying, you are simply here, you listen fully, you see without judgment, and when you speak from this still, open awareness, even the simplest words, you look peaceful today. Or I love the way your mind works, have a depth that no clever phrase could match. They are not strategic, they are true in that moment, and truth resonates far more deeply than charm. The power of presence in words is that it brings the listener into presence as well. Think of the times you've been with someone who was so attentive, so grounded, that just being near them seemed to slow your own thoughts. That stillness is contagious. When you speak from it, your words do not merely enter the other person's mind, they awaken something in their heart. They leave a fragrance that lingers. In this way, a compliment is not a transaction. It is not an attempt to get something, approval, affection, attention. It is a gift, and a true gift has no ulterior motive. You are not saying it so that they will think of you a certain way. You are saying it because in that moment you see something real and beautiful in them, and the words arise effortlessly to reflect it. That authenticity is what makes it powerful. Imagine speaking to someone while your attention is anchored in the now. You are not thinking about what they might say next, or whether they will remember your words later. You are here with them, sensing their presence as deeply as you sense your own. From this space, the compliment you give is alive. It has a vibration that reaches beyond the intellect. They may replay it later, not because the words were extraordinary, but because they remember how it made them feel seen, valued, touched at a level deeper than form. Presence also changes the tone of your voice. It slows you down, not artificially, but naturally, as if time itself bends to accommodate the depth of your attention. You do not rush to fill silences. You allow the words to come in their own rhythm. And when they do, each one carries a kind of gravity. It is this quality that makes someone feel as though your words have taken root in them. There is another dimension here. When you are present, you are not only aware of the other person, you are aware of yourself, as the space in which the words happen. This means you are not identified with the need to be liked, or the fear of saying the wrong thing. You are free from the subtle anxiety that infects so much human communication, and that freedom is felt by the listener. In a world where so many conversations are tinged with need or performance, to be in the presence of someone who is simply here, not wanting to change you, is deeply attractive. Think about how rare it is for someone to truly see you, not see your achievements, your status, or your appearance, but see you, the living presence behind all of that. When you offer a compliment from that seeing, it is like a mirror that reflects not the outer form, but the essence. That is why it can stay with a person through the night, through the week, even for years. It is not the flattery they remember. It is the glimpse of themselves they felt in your presence. This is why presence in words is powerful. It is not an act of persuasion, but of revelation. You are revealing to the other person the beauty or strength they already carry, but perhaps have forgotten. And in revealing it to them, you deepen your own connection to it. There is no separation between the giver and the receiver. In such moments, both are lifted into the same space of awareness. In this way, a compliment becomes more than a pleasant sound. It becomes an anchor in the now. It draws both of you out of the restless flow of thought into the immediacy of being, and that, more than any technique or formula, is what makes it unforgettable. For what is remembered most vividly is not the exact shape of the words, but the living energy they carried, an energy that could only arise from presence. When you are fully here, you begin to notice things that would escape a mind lost in thought. You see subtleties, the way someone's eyes light up when they speak about something they love, the quiet strength in the way they listen, the slight hesitation before they reveal something vulnerable. These are not details you can observe if you are busy rehearsing your next line or measuring the impact of your words. They reveal themselves only to stillness. To see beyond the surface is to look past the roles a person plays, their job title, their appearance, their social identity, and sense the living essence behind it all. Most interactions remain at the level of form. You look nice. That was impressive. I like your style. While such remarks can be kind, they are often directed toward the mask, the outer shell. But when your perception is rooted in presence, you see through the mask without dismissing it. You recognize the deeper truth. This is a conscious being here, breathing, aware, just as you are. When your compliment arises from that depth of seeing, it carries a rare quality. Instead of merely affirming the surface, it reflects something in them that perhaps even they have overlooked. You might say, "I notice how calm you stay when others are stressed." Or, "There's a clarity in the way you express yourself that feels grounding." Such words are not generic. They are the fruit of your attention, and because they are so specific, they cannot be manufactured. Seeing beyond the surface requires that you release the mental labels that so quickly define and limit a person. The mind loves to categorize: attractive, intelligent, kind, difficult, quiet. But presence sees without filtering reality through these judgments. It meets the person anew in each moment. This openness allows you to discover something fresh, even in someone you've known for years. In that freshness, your words become alive, because they are not borrowed from memory or habit, they are born now. There is also a deep respect in this way of seeing. You are not projecting an image onto them or trying to mold them into your idea of who they should be. You are simply acknowledging what is here in its wholeness. That respect is felt. It creates a space of safety, and in that space people often reveal more of themselves, not because you ask them to, but because they sense they are already accepted. When you speak from this depth of seeing, you are not trying to make the other person remember you, yet they will. Not because you impressed them, but because you met them in a way so few people do. You did not just notice the surface ripples, you touched the still water beneath. And the stillness within them recognizes itself in that moment, even if they cannot put it into words. When you meet someone from this place of depth, something subtle yet profound happens. Your presence stirs there. In the same way, still water reflects the sky. Your calm, attentive awareness reflects back to them a part of themselves they may not often touch, and within that reflection something awakens. They feel more here, more alive, not because of anything you gave them in the usual sense, but because your seeing has reminded them of what they already are. Aliveness is not something to be added to a person. It is already within them, but often obscured by the constant noise of thought, by the weight of roles, responsibilities, and expectations. Your presence and the words that arise from it can act like sunlight breaking through the clouds. A simple, heartfelt recognition when you speak about that, your whole face lights up. Or, I can feel the passion in your voice when you share this, draws their attention inward, toward their own vitality. Suddenly they become aware of the warmth in their chest, the brightness in their eyes, the energy in their being. These kinds of words do not inflate the ego, they awaken the essence, and there is a vast difference between the two. Ego thrives on comparison, on being better or more than others. Essence knows only being, and in that state the need for comparison falls away. When your words point to this deeper reality, they leave an imprint far stronger than flattery ever could. They are not just pleasing, they are enlivening. Awakening someone's sense of aliveness is not about making them feel excited in the way one might feel after a temporary high. It is about reconnecting them with the simple joy of existing. When your words come from that recognition, they can stir a quiet ecstasy, the kind that doesn't depend on external conditions. He may walk away from you and still feel that subtle glow hours later, not because of your physical presence, but because you reminded him of his own. This is why certain compliments stay with people far beyond the moment. They are not simply remembered in the mind, they are felt again in the body, in the heart. It is as if the words themselves carried a seed that continues to bloom long after they were spoken. And every time that aliveness is felt, the memory of your presence returns, not as a craving, but as a resonance, the way a tuning fork vibrates when it meets a matching tone. In truth, what you awaken in another is also awakened in yourself. As you notice his aliveness, you become more aware of your own. This mutual recognition deepens the connection beyond what surface charm could ever reach. It becomes less about you and him as separate identities, and more about the shared field of being in which you both move and breathe. When words arise from the still space within, they carry a purity that no amount of effort or planning can create. This stillness is not something you fabricate. It is already here, beneath the constant movement of thought. It is the same space in which all true connection happens. When you rest in it, you are not searching for the right thing to say. The words simply come, like ripples from a deep well, untouched by the winds of insecurity or desire. In this space there is no urgency. You are not racing to fill every pause or to impress with speed and wit. Silence becomes as meaningful as speech because both are infused with the same awareness. And when you do speak, each word feels as though it has taken its time to arrive, carrying with it the fragrance of where it came from. People sense this. They may not understand why, but they will lean in, listening more closely, because your words have a different weight, a different resonance. Speaking from this stillness also removes the subtle pressure that can distort communication. When you are rooted in the space within, you are no longer trying to control the outcome. You are not speaking to get something in return, nor to perform an identity. This freedom allows your voice, your tone, and your presence to align. And when they align, your words don't just communicate ideas, they transmit a state of being. This is why even a single compliment, when spoken from this depth, can echo in someone's mind long after the moment has passed. It is not because the words were extraordinary, but because they were born from a place beyond thought, a place that the listener recognizes in themselves, whether consciously or not. In that moment, they are not just hearing you, they are feeling themselves in a deeper way. From this stillness, you also become more attuned to the subtle cues of the other person, the shifts in their breathing, the way their expression softens, the pauses in their own speech. This attunement allows your words to meet them exactly where they are, without force, without pretense. And because your words meet them at that depth, they touch something unguarded, something that cannot be reached by surface-level interaction. It is this quality, the marriage of stillness and speech, that turns a simple exchange into a moment that lingers. Not because you demanded their attention, but because your presence invited them to rest, to breathe, to feel. In a world full of noise, such moments are rare, and it is often the rarest things that are treasured the longest. When presence flows into your words, you are no longer simply engaging in conversation, you are shaping an experience that becomes part of someone's inner world. Most interactions pass quickly, leaving little behind except a faint impression. But when you truly see someone, speak from the stillness within, and awaken their sense of aliveness, something different happens. The moment does not dissolve into the blur of daily life. It crystallizes, living on in their awareness as a memory. A memory is more than a mental replay of what was said. It is the emotional imprint, the felt sense that remains. When your words arise from genuine awareness, they do not remain on the surface of the mind, they sink into the deeper layers of being. And because they touch that depth, they carry a life of their own, continuing to echo long after they are spoken. This is why a single compliment, offered with full presence, can return to someone hours or even years later, as fresh as when it was first heard. To create a memory, you are not forcing the other person to remember you. You are offering them something they want to keep, not out of obligation, but because it feels nourishing to hold on to. It is like giving them a small flame that warms them in the quiet moments of their life. They may recall the way your voice softened, the way your eyes held theirs without rushing away, the way your words seemed to name something they had always known but never put into language. When you connect in this way, you are not just adding a pleasant moment to someone's day. You are giving them an anchor to presence. In remembering you, they also remember themselves in that state of openness, stillness, and aliveness. This is what makes it powerful. The memory is not of you alone, but of who they were able to be in your presence. Such moments cannot be manufactured by cleverness or rehearsed lines. They are born when you are fully here, with no agenda but to witness and reflect what is true. And in that authenticity, the smallest gesture is sincere acknowledgement, a quiet smile. A word that meets them exactly where they are can become timeless. This is the subtle art, speaking in a way that is not just about the present interaction, but about planting something that will grow in the quiet soil of memory. When they recall it later, perhaps lying in bed at night or walking alone, it will not feel like a performance they witnessed. It will feel like a truth they touched. And that is why they will carry it with them long after the moment itself has passed.